Welcome to the review of the DeWalt Grease Gun Model 571. First I'll show you some features, then I'll show you the grease gun in action, and then I will also talk about an upgrade which I think makes sense. Here you see the grease gun, and while it is a little heavy, I really like that they added hookups for the shoulder strap. So you see there's these two hookups on the top there, and then there's also another hookup at the bottom, and it's got those really nice rubber feet, which makes it easy to store. I like the battery location, it's towards the back when you have this thing hanging on your shoulder, and I really like the variable speed trigger because that allows you to go easy and slow in the beginning, for example when you're using an old fitting, and then once you know the fitting has a good connection, then you can go full speed. What I don't like is the location of the pressure relief valve. Officially it's rated at 10,000 psi, but I think especially in cold weather this is a little too sensitive. I also don't like the location of that relief valve. If you have the grease gun hanging off your shoulder and it leaks grease through the pressure relief valve, you get the grease all over your pants. I think they could have found a better location for this. You can also see the air bleed valve right there in case you have air when you load a new grease cartridge. So that's really accessible right there. And you also see another hook for the shoulder strap. So right there, that piece of metal. And so if you want to wear this in a more upright way, that's another way to hook up the shoulder strap, and that works really well. This is the fitting for loading the gun with bulk grease, so that's an option, and all you really need to do is turn the plunger around and then that works well. Here's the LED light, and that's a great feature. First of all, you can turn off the LED light if you don't need it, and that's that switch right there, and then if you just tap the trigger, the light will come on. It'll stay on for 20 seconds, and it's really bright. Here's a video that shows you tractor at night, and I turn on the light, and that puts out a lot of light. Again, you only need to tap the trigger. You don't actually need to pump any grease, so this is super helpful in the dark. Changing the grease tubes is super easy. I'm sure everybody knows how to do that, but really this gun makes it easy. All you need to do is unscrew the tube. You see that right there, that's an empty tube. And then just pull the plunger back. It's got this nice notch there. This is all high quality metal. And then just pull out the empty tube. Well, I should have worn gloves here, but anyway. And so just grab a new tube and pop that one in. So since we have the tube open here, let me show you the plunger. So this is a minor problem with this grease gun. You see this plunger there, and if it's really hot outside, say 90 or 100 degrees, a little bit of grease will squirt past this plunger. Makes it a little messy and there's a little bit of waste. Not more so than I've seen in other grease guns, but still, it's a little bit of a nitpick. Also, this plunger can be reversed, so if you want to use bulk grease, just flip that plunger around, and that is super easy. Now let's load a new grease cartridge in here, and I know everybody knows how to do this. Cardboard end goes in, right? And let's do that. Pull the plunger back, put the cardboard end in, and then what I like to do is I like to keep that plastic top around, wipe off the metal lid, and then just put the metal lid into the plastic top and, try to avoid getting grease everywhere. And then what I do for priming is I don't actually use the bleed valve. What I do is when I screw that tube back in, first I screw it all the way in, and then I back it out about a full rotation or a rotation and a half, so that when I put the plunger back in, especially when it's cold, I can push, and I can push all the air out, and you actually hear the air going out. And then once you know, hey, this is really solid, there's no more air pockets, then you can pull it tight. And that way you don't have any air pockets in there. And so let's see if that works. New grease cartridge in there, and there's the grease. So yeah, this is super, super easy. I was positively surprised at how good the battery life was. So of course that depends a lot on temperature and how tight the fittings are and what kind of grease you use. But at the low end with a 5 amp battery, I did about 3 to 5 tubes. On the high end, up to 20. So this is quite amazing. The grease fitting that comes with the gun is good. It's actually really nice fitting, but I prefer the lock and loop style couplings. So for some reason that was on super tight, but I took it off. Now in this video I'll show the original coupling so you see how that looks from the factory, but in my mind that's a nice upgrade to put a lock and loop coupling on there. I like the hose that comes with the grease gun. It's about 42 inches long, nice quality. It's got these guards on there, and I think there's also an option to buy a shorter hose, but I like the length that it comes with. Since I said quality, overall, I'm actually impressed with the quality of this gun. Lots of metal, especially all the wear and tear parts. That seems to be all super solid. I think I've had this for a few months and it's been awesome. I also like the rubber feet. Now I said that earlier. I think that allows you to store this in a very neat way. On the back of the grease gun, there's a clip for the hose, but what I like to do is wrap the hose around it, and that seems to work really well. So let's put the shoulder strap on it and do some lubing. And as you can see, this tractor has gotten a lot of grease already. So I'm just showing you this and putting way more grease on this than usual. Now you saw the factory supplied grease coupling worked really well, but I like the lock and loop fittings better. First of all, they have 4 jaws instead of 3, and they require a lot less effort. They also seem to work better with old and worn Zerk fittings. For me, that was a useful upgrade, and I just put that onto the hose after I took off the old fitting. On the plus side, this grease gun has great build quality. All the major parts where it matters are made out of metal. It has a 3-year warranty, 1-year free service, 90 days money back guarantee, but you have to register your tool online, which takes just a few minutes. The grease pressure is really good. This pump puts out a good quantity of grease, so this will really help speed things up. I really like the variable trigger speed. So for example, if you have some old worn out fittings, you can start slow and easy, and then once you know you have a good grip, you can really start pumping. Battery life is great. I've seen anywhere from 3 to 4 tubes of grease on a 5 amp battery when things are really cold, to all the way to 15 or even 20 tubes on a 5 amp battery in the summer when the grease flows really well. The factory supplied coupling on the grease gun is decent quality, but I wish they would use a lock and loop style coupling, which you can change, and that would be a great upgrade. This gun also works with bulk grease, and that works really well. All you need to do is turn the plunger around. The length of the hose is great. It's about 42 inches, and I also like that it has these protectors on it. And I really like the LED light. That's awesome. All you need to do is tap the trigger just a little bit, and the light goes on, stays on for 20 seconds, and you can also turn it off so that it doesn't come on at all. Puts out a lot of light like you saw in the video, so that's awesome. And I really like those rubber feet. I think putting that down on a table with the hose neatly tucked away, either in the clamp or like I do it, wrap it around, I think that keeps things nice and tidy and you don't get grease everywhere, so nicely engineered. The negatives, well, there's really only 2, and then the other ones are nitpicks. The first one is the pressure relief valve. I think that's overly sensitive. Officially, it's 10,000 psi, but what I've seen is in cold weather, typically a couple degrees above freezing, 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 5 degrees Celsius for our metric friends, it squirts out grease. Plus, I don't like the location of that thing. If there's grease coming out and you have it on the shoulder strap, then you get grease all over your pants, and I think they could have done that better. The coupling that the grease gun comes with is decent, but I like the lock and loop style couplings better. So that's the first thing I did. I took that off. For some reason that was put on super tight, but I took that off and then put a lock and loop style coupling on there, and that works so much better. Some people don't like them. I do, so for me that's a great upgrade. Overall, the grease gun is pretty heavy, especially if you run it with a bigger battery, but the shoulder strap actually works really well, so you don't really feel the weight. That's a total nitpick on my part. And some of the grease gets past the plunger, especially if it's very hot outside. You basically waste a little bit of grease and things get messy. Again, total nitpick. Really, the only two things that bug me about this gun is the coupling and that the pressure relief valve doesn't work that well in cold weather. Other than that, I think it's a real quality product. So my final thoughts are, this is a great electric grease gun, has great output, some really nice features. You can tell a lot of thinking went into this, and the coupling that it comes with is decent quality. The pressure relief valve is way too sensitive in cold weather, and I don't like where that's located on the gun because if it pops and grease comes out, that gets all over your pants. But that's minor. Overall, I like the quality. I would give that 4.5 stars, especially if you replace the coupling with one of those lock and lube style couplings. If you thought this review was useful, please like and subscribe, and to the right are a few more useful videos. Thanks for watching.